So this is a really cool project. One of the very first things I learned when I became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, which was 13 years ago, and it is definitely an oldie but a goodie. So many of my viewers, you may have seen this already, many of you may have not, but be prepared to be wowed. This is called a Bagalope, and what I have here is a white envelope, and you can use any size envelope. So this measures 6.5 by 9.5. And the first thing you want to do is decorate your envelope. So I'm going to use my Real Red ink pad with the Hello December stamp set. It's Project Life stamp set, and I'm going to use the snowflakes. I know typically snowflakes are not done in red, but today we're doing them in red. So peel those off. And I'm just going to cluster them together on my block. And photopolymer stamps better on our foam piercing mat, so I'm going to stamp on that. And I apologize for the lighting on the video. It's a very dark, rainy day today, so the lighting's not the greatest. Oops. So I'm just going to stamp my snowflakes randomly, turning my block around different angles as I go along. Very fast way to cover a big area. Okay, I'm going to flip it over and do exactly the same thing. Okay, next I want to fill in the little blank areas, so I'm going to use the star from the same set. And I'm just going to start filling it in. So I should have mentioned I have actually sealed the edge. So this is all sealed up, and I want to cut that off now. So I'm going to put that in my paper trimmer. So I've cut that off. So there's my opening. Now I want to measure equally on both sides and on the bottom. So you could do this depending on the size of the bag you want, and the bag will turn out different sizes depending on how much you fold over. So you'll see what I mean in a second. I'm going to line this up with the 1 inch. Put my cutting blade up there. There's a scoring blade on this paper trimmer, which makes it really easy. So I'm scoring that. I'm turning it around and scoring it at 1 again. And turning it around and scoring it at 1 again. So you want your measurements to be the same on all 3 sides, not the open side. We're not scoring the open side. So now I'm taking my bone folder, and I'm going to fold over those scored edges and just put a really good crease in them. So I'm going to fold the opposite side. Just get that crisp crease that we want, and do that for all 3 sides. So if I had scored this at 2 inches, for instance, instead of 1, my bag would be more narrow than it is wide. And as you make these, you'll see what I mean. I love making these when I need a quick bag in a hurry to wrap up a little fun gift. Okay, so I have all my creases sharp and crisp. What I'm going to do now is put my hand inside the opening. What I want to do is I want to push down the bottom to make it flat. And I'm going to put my finger in this little corner here just to kind of really get that sealed up right. I have a crease in the middle on the side. I like to just kind of push that down a little bit and then do that on both sides. So these little flaps on the end we want to fold over. So you can use sticky strip, which is a really good adhesive, very strong adhesive. Depending on what you're putting inside your bag, if you're putting something light, then your snail adhesive would be fine. But if it's going to be something a little bit heavier, then I would use a really good strong adhesive like a sticky strip. Fold that over, so there is the bottom of my bag. So there, I've made a bag out of an envelope, hence why it's called a Bagalope. So now the top portion of your bag, you can do a couple of things, a number of things actually. You could just punch a couple holes and put a ribbon in it and make a handle. You could just fold it over and staple it. I'm going to make a tag topper. So to do this, I want to measure the width of my bag. The width is approximately 4.5 inches. So I'm going to cut out a piece of real red cardstock that is at least 4.5 inches wide. So here's my cardstock, which I've cut at 4.5, and then I cut it down at 6, so that when I fold it over, I know it's going to measure 3 by 4.5. If you don't want it as wide, then you could cut it maybe at 4.5 by 4, so when you fold it over, then the width is 2 inches instead of 3 inches. So I want to kind of decorate the edges. So I'm going to do something a little bit radical. Stay with me. I am going to tear it towards me on both sides. And I've cut out some scrap cucumber crush cardstock to measure 3/4 of an inch by 4.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put adhesive on both sides. I'm going to do one side at a time and just line that up. Oops. Like so. And then I'm going to do the other side. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this on the inside of my last green strip so that when it closes, I know it's going to match up. So now I have a really nice little green edge. And if you want, you can kind of take your fingernail and just kind of go along the edge of the paper. Just give it a little bit of a ragged look, which is kind of neat. All right. So pretend we put something fun in here. We put some chocolate truffles or something really nice. And now I do have a staple. And I'm going to staple it on each side to seal it. And we're going to hide that with a piece of ribbon. And I'm going to tie a bow. And trim the end. Again, using the Hello December stamp set from Project Life, I'm using this tag right here. So I'm just putting that on my block. So I'm inking it up with my Cucumber Crush ink, stamping it on my Whisper White cardstock. Then taking the same star and my Real Red, I want to stamp a couple of stars on there. To handwrite a to love with my marker. I'm going to take my blending pen to pull that green in on the edge, which is a little bit softer than actually coloring in with a marker. I'm just going to trim this out. And I'm also going to cut out this little extra star that I stamped. It actually doesn't take long to trim these little images out, and I don't know about you, but I actually find cutting is very relaxing. I guess depending on what you're cutting out. Okay, So there's my little star. Okay, so I'm gonna cut out a little Stampin' Dimensional piece here. And put that on the star down at the corner. And put this star right on top. Just off to the side a little bit, so we've got a little 3D star. Take basic rhinestone and put that in the middle of each star. I'm going to use a piece of cherry cobbler baker's twine. And wrap it underneath the bow. And then I'm just going to tie this into a little bow as well. And I think what I'm going to do, just to tie in some of this green into the bag, is I'm going to take my Cucumber Crush and my blending pen. And I'm just going into the lid with some color. And I'm just going to go into the center of some of these snowflakes. And there you have it, a very quick gift bag, just using an envelope. So have some fun with this Bagalope idea. And again, depending on the size of your envelope and how much you fold in on the 3 sides, you're going to get different sizes. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and happy stamping.